Whatever role she has played in her life, I've seen her as a person who's committed 100% to it.
At that point, to me and my child and my family, yes. One of the biggest things I personally struggled with is financial independence.
Why is it that the woman has to be the one making the sacrifice?
There were times that I felt like, oh my God, am I singing the same nursery rhyme for the 100th time this day? You are unable to take the right decisions at the right time, which is suitable for your family. I feel your education has failed you. I should be a good steward of what my husband brings to the table. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. Shame is not from God.
The discussion with Piumi has truly encouraged you. Blessed day to you all. Welcome to another segment of Trends and Truth. Today with me is a wonderful, faithful woman of God who has dedicated her life to glorifying the Father through every aspect of her life. I have known her throughout her childhood, and I've seen her constantly being the kind of person who's dedicated herself to whatever she's done. She's given 100% maybe to education, marriage, parenting, whatever role she has played in her life. I've seen her as a person who's committed 100% to it. And through this journey, she's experienced many different stages of her life. And today she's here with us to share her story, her experience, what the Lord has taught her through all of this, and help each of us grow and glorify God through it all. Let me welcome Piumi to the segment. Hi Piumi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure and an honor. Today I thought it'll be amazing if you start opening up and telling us a little bit more about your fantastic story. And I know for a fact that your life has taken very unexpected turns and you've made big decisions that I think none of us would have expected you to make. Yet today you are sitting here, you are happy and you're glorifying the Father for all of it. So we'd like to know a little bit about your background to begin with and what you'd like to tell us about today.
Thank you once again. So, if I tell a bit about myself, I was raised in a family, a secure family, where I was focused on going on accomplishment basis. So, I was raised by a very good set of parents. I had my grandparents, and both my parents were working. And my father particularly pushed us to be academic and eventually groomed us to do our best in whatever we were involved in. So all my life, I thought I'd do my studies well. I'd probably do my higher studies and then get into the corporate world. So life went on, and it was nothing unusual in my family because I come from a family where women worked. They were career women. My grandmother was a teacher, and my grandfather was extremely supportive of that. My mom was a working mom, and my father supported that. So all my life, I planned to be a career woman. So I completed my studies, did my higher studies out of the country. I lived alone, which made me even more independent. And I had this whole life planned ahead of me. I came back to Sri Lanka, got attached to the corporate sector, worked for an amazing company, one of the biggest companies in Sri Lanka. I was in HR, and I was pretty set in my ways. So at an unexpected time, I met my current husband, and we courted for a while, and we decided to get married. He too was working for one of the biggest companies in Sri Lanka. Just before we were going to get married, we had a chat about stability at home. And I decided if we both continued in our career paths in the companies that we were working in at that time, I felt that that would have gotten in our way of having a stable family life. So we discussed, we prayed about it, and I made a career switch. I switched to teaching. That's because my husband's working hours were not set. And I thought I needed to have the home front right and stable. So I switched to teaching, and thereafter we started our family life. We got married and we were happy. 1 year down the line, we had a little baby girl, and she was everything we wanted. So my maternity leave was soon coming to an end, and we had to take a decision regarding her future. Basically, who was going to take care of her? What was our plan going forward. So while we were having this chat, I realized I was not ready to give up on the role of taking care of my baby. This is all with all due respect to all the moms who've taken different paths in life, be it a career woman or a stay-at-home mom. I don't think there's any right plan to take care of your baby. But me as a person at that time, I felt that I needed to be there for my baby. So we had a chat and we decided that I would quit. I would give up my job. So this was towards the end of my maternity leave, and see, I might have thought that I would have made this decision at some point, but until I hit that moment, I didn't realize I had to take that decision. So I remember having a chat with my husband. I drafted my resignation letter and I drove to my workplace, which was a school, and I had to hand in my letter of resignation. And I remember handing it in and coming back to my vehicle, driving home all the way back, crying. I just cried all the way home driving, thinking, Lord, my worth is no more. That's exactly what ran through my mind. And immediately I heard God's still small voice tell me, your worth does not come from your job. And I cannot tell you how I felt. I felt like a huge weight had been lifted off me. And I felt like God also corrected me in the way I looked at people in that very moment. Because I thought majority of my worth came from my job. At least I had thought like that for the longest time. And the Lord corrected me. And I came back relieved. I came back home and I settled down. So that was the moment I made a decision that I thought I never would.
If I ask you this, was this decision necessary?
At that point, to me and my child and my family, yes. Because I felt that was the best option for us at that time. Financially, we were all right. And that gave me the comfort to take that decision at that time. And in the Bible it says, love protects, love trusts, love hopes, and love perseveres. At that moment in time, I chose to trust in the Lord, trust my husband, hope in the Lord, and hope upon my husband that financially we would be okay. I would have been more than happy to support my husband financially. But then I realized at that moment, for my family, for my husband, that decision gave him comfort, knowing that his child, my child, our child was okay at home with me while he concentrated on his job. And his job demanded a lot of his attention. So for that, at that moment, for my family, that was the decision that was necessary.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. There might be a viewer watching today who would wonder, why is it that the woman has to be the one making the sacrifice? Why is it the woman who has to, and you said you always studied hard. I know that you've achieved many things throughout your academic career. And through all of that, you were the one who had to make this decision to take a step behind and let him accomplish his dream, and you play the role of taking care of your children. If there's a viewer watching today who is wondering why you made that choice, would you like to tell us why?
Yeah. So I personally wouldn't see it as the woman having to make the sacrifice, at least for me, my story. Because how I felt is that all my life I had a relatively secure upbringing. Things were provided for me, and I'm eternally grateful for my father who gave me an education over wealth. And I feel education is something, it's not a jewel, it's not a piece of jewel to wear, and it never goes to waste. And I had that opportunity. Whereas if I may share with you, my husband came from a dysfunctional home, and the Lord was his strength. He brought him through. And my husband as a child did not have the secure setup that I had as a child. And he did not have the opportunities to kind of pursue his higher studies at the time that I had my opportunity. And I felt it's only fair that he would have his chance. And I remember that the Lord laid his life down, and it was sacrificial love. And on my part, I felt at that time it was my turn to show that. Because truth be told, husbands make a lot of sacrifices. We may not see them, they may not speak about those things, but it was my turn at that time, and I felt it was right that he got his opportunity to pursue his higher studies, because I had the assurance from the Lord that things were never going to go to waste. Nothing that I studied has gone to waste. I support my husband in everything that he does, be it secretarial work to do with his work, or simple things like drafting a letter, taking decisions, planning our future, supporting my children in their education. Absolutely nothing has gone to waste. I'm supporting my husband through his small business right now, and I feel that everything that I've learned has come to play. And education means you're able to think. That's how I feel. And if you are unable to take the right decisions at the right time, which is suitable for your family, I feel your education has failed you, you know. So at that time, I felt that was necessary for my family. So my husband took the opportunity. He studied. He's still pursuing. He just completed his final exams of his LLB, and I'm happy to say that I was able to support through it. Which also brings me to the point that if someone's wondering, were there never any failures? There were definitely moments that I regretted my decision. You know, I just felt like, did I take the right decision? Did I do the right thing? Especially during a period like the COVID period, I felt like, what if I was able to support my husband financially? But the Lord reminded me that He's the provider, right? And the fact that I took a step back and I'm holding the fort at home has enabled my husband to focus his energy on what he needs to. There were times that he has disappointed me. There were times that I may have disappointed him. I may have not kept to my word. Things were definitely not rosy. So that's how it has been throughout. It's work in progress actually. There's no end to the decisions that you've taken. You keep changing your decisions, but at that time I felt that that was the right thing.
I'm sure along the way there would have been multiple challenges you would have faced.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So first off, I think there are people around us. I would like to think that's out of genuine, interest in us, that they would say, "Did you put your education to waste?" And immediately it can bring you down. And there are times people have said, there is no way that you're going to get your child into a good school without being attached to a good company, because both companies I worked for were amazing. They are good workplaces. And there were times that people said, you might not be able to get much done to do with your child's education, or being a good companion to your husband in terms of sharing thoughts and basically your companionship if you give up your job. Those were harsh. It was difficult to take. And one of the biggest things I personally struggled with is financial independence. Because as I said, I grew up in a family where my mom had her income, my grandma had her income, and I was surrounded by women who were financially independent. So there were times that I'm being honest, there were times that I thought, okay, should a woman have financial independence? I would say yes to that answer, but it was a learning point for me personally, because all my life, until I came to know the Lord, I used to think His money, my money. So for me, I believe I went through this, or I am going through this initially very much, that I had to change my heart condition. My heart had to be put right as to not to think that it's his money, my money, it's our money, and I should be a good steward of what my husband brings to the table. Stewardship, especially financial stewardship, is very important, and I think I learned a lot. And talking to you right now as an unemployed person, a stay-at-home mom, I have begun to see my worth in many different ways. The Lord has stretched time for me, and I'm able to serve His kingdom in the way I can. But 3 months down the line, 3 years down the line, you might find me again as an employed person. But this is my story. I just want to share this to encourage people who are contemplating on taking a decision like the decision I made a few years back, or people who have already taken this decision and wondering, did I take the right decision? Because doubt is not from the Lord. I just want to really encourage people to not regret their decision. You have been put through a season, and the word says there is a season for every purpose under heaven. And this is a season in your life, this is not the end. And you wouldn't believe it when you're going through a rough patch, no matter how much people tell you this is not the end, this is just a temporary season in life. You might not believe it, but I just want to encourage everyone who's watching, who are going through a similar situation, don't be discouraged. That's the main thing I wanted to share.
I just want to push a little bit more. You see, I'm sure there have, as much as joy and happiness that you found through this choice that you made, there have been moments of frustration, I'm sure. And in moments like that, how did God fit in the equation?
So, apart from the frustration of not financially being independent, there were times that I felt like, oh my God, am I singing the same nursery rhyme for the 100th time this day? If you're used to adult company, if you're used to being a part of a workplace and being a part of basically a adult group of people, and suddenly overnight switching to something that you've never done in your life, it's your child for sure, but this is something you didn't plan to do. Singing nursery rhymes the whole day, playing and throwing a ball, it was definitely challenging. And one of the biggest things for me was having a support circle. Reach out. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. Shame is not from God. And shame is this unnecessary fear that stops us from asking for help. I am blessed with a mom who's godly and a sister, and I have cousins, I have friends who are very supportive and who speak to me and encourage me even if they have not heard from me. For days they might call me, but I also have been through days where nobody had called me. No one's fault, but people have their own things to do. But go to the Lord. It's very easy to say now, but during those times there were multiple challenges of being a new mom, not having adult company. It was very challenging, and I'm pretty sure I dealt with postpartum depression to some degree as well. It wasn't easy, but I just want to encourage people by mentioning a few things that helped me. First thing, go to God. You may not have time to maybe spend hours praying, but go to the scripture. Something that worked for me is write down scripture and putting it around my bedroom. Simple things. And surround yourself with people who speak positively into your life. I have to be honest, it's not only God-fearing or believing people who spoke into my life at that point. There were people who were of other faiths who commended me, who said, you took the right decision, it's the right thing to do. And you need to hear that. You need that pat on your back. When you need it the most, God will do it for you. And I'm immensely grateful, and I'm thankful for all the people, every single person, my colleagues, my friends, everyone who spoke positively, and for remarks that you viewed as negative at that point, which may not necessarily have been negative from that person's point of view. Take it as a source of strength. Some things happen in our life and some things are told to us, so we may not say that thing to someone else. Take it in that spirit. I believe the Lord's hand is upon everyone who's going through a difficult time, but they want the Lord in their lives. And I'm blessed with a lot of friends, believing or non-believing, doesn't matter. They're very supportive. And surround yourself with that circle. Go to God, and most importantly, make your spouse a part of it. The good thing about, I would say, a person who knows where your values come from people or being married to a person who has similar values is that that person knows why you took that decision at that time. It's not because you're helpless. It's not because you don't have a choice. I could have continued in my decision to be a career woman and probably opted for something else for my child. But a person who shares similar values with us will understand why we took that decision. It's easy for that person to help us through this journey. I remember, like I shared before, my husband didn't come from a background that was similar to mine. Having a family life altogether the way we wanted to have was a new learning journey for him. But I remember there were so many people at work who educated him about new moms, postpartum depression. There were friends from church, there were friends from different circles he was attached to who had educated him about how to help a new mom, a new wife through certain challenges. So there were times he would call me from work and ask if I'm okay, because I was a new mom and he knew I was not okay at times dealing with new mom challenges. So looking back, I may not have appreciated some of the things that happened, but don't get me wrong, we didn't have it perfect. There were times that we disagreed, there were times that we fought, there were times that we didn't see eye to eye on certain matters, but end of the day, you don't let the sun go down in anger, you know, and it's very important that you have a support circle around you.
Amen. Thank you so much for that amazing honesty that you shared every bit of your life with us and what you've been through. I'm sure if there's a viewer today watching who's been going through something difficult in their life, that today's discussion has encouraged you. And even though what the Lord may expect of you in this season may not be easy and may be challenging for you, remember that God always has a purpose and God will always make sure that the very best comes out for you. Your story is not over yet. There's many more blessings to come, and I hope that the discussion with Piumi has truly encouraged you. In closing, is there anything you'd like to share with our viewers and just to encourage them?
I just want to tell anyone who's watching, who's discouraged or probably contemplating on taking these decisions, be strong and courageous. People disappoint you, but the Lord doesn't. Hold on and surround yourself with a supportive circle and don't give up. If the Lord has placed this decision in your life, have peace about it and go ahead. This is a season in your life and seasons change.
Thank you so much. May we all be encouraged to swim upstream to glorify God in every way that He has asked us to. And through it all, may we find the joy of the Lord. Have a blessed and wonderful week. God bless you all.